Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how to render this beautiful car seat with Fstorm in 3ds Max. We go to Fstorm website, which is fstorm.com, go to downloads, let's download it. I already did. You can simply extract it, this one. You run it and install it. It takes a few seconds. So in the 3ds Max, if you go to render settings, you can choose Fstorm Render version 1.55J. Fstorm also gives you an ability to test render it, like you can use it with a watermark before purchasing it. So it's a great thing. It is very simple. All we have to do is we need to look at few tabs in here. So the kernel settings. This kernel settings are basically the render engine settings in Fstorm. Like 99% of the time, I simply bump up the render samples up to like 1 million, doesn't really matter. You just put 1,0,0,0,0 to the maximum. The render samples are, as it says, render samples. The lower samples you have, the faster your rendering will finish, but you will have more noise in your render. The higher samples you have, the longer it will take to finish one frame, but you will have a noise-free image at the end. If we have multiple lights, I sometimes bump up the sample number to 16, but these things, like I touch it like very rarely. The interactive rendering tab is our rendering tab like in Corona. We hit run RT mode, it renders it. I'll show you everything in here. So not to waste your time and talk about tabs, just let's get into like real world scenario. So I have this car seat here. I simply go to create, camera, physical camera, C to go to camera, orbit to find a nice shot, just a little bit of rotation. Okay, so this is my shot. I go to 2560 resolution, and now I need to render it. So first of all, every time I open a Fstorm scene, I go to Tools, Convert Scene to Fstorm. So it's going to convert everything you have into an Fstorm, Fstorm material, Fstorm camera, Fstorm light. So in a compatible mode to Fstorm render engine. So I go TZ, I open up my material editor, and you can see I have Fstorm materials all over the place. So first of all, I go to Polyhaven, I find a new, good, beautiful HDRI, which I think this suits for this case. So I download it. Then we go to render settings, environment. In the environment tab, we choose Fstorm bitmap, drag and drop as an instance. And now we change the mapping to spherical environment. And in the parameters, we click to the none, go to downloads, choose your HDRI, and you can see that it is a little bit dark because by default, Fstorm doesn't fix the gamma correction. So what we need to do, we go to gamma and put 2.2 in here. For the proper angle, I need to flip the tiling -1 to get a proper orientation. And that's it. So I can drag and drop it as an instance, check the texture box, and go to camera and simply hit run RT mode. And it's already looking good. You can see these watermarks of the Fstorm, but it's not an issue right now. So let's say I'm going to move, I want to bump up the exposure. So I try in the Fstorm, try to not to touch the exposure settings a lot. I want to first of all balance my lighting, then touch the exposure. So how do I do it? In this HDRI map, I click it on the Fstorm bitmap and I choose Fstorm color correction. And I keep the map as a submap. So here I have a multiplier. So let's bump up the multiplier to, let's say 2. And you can see that it brightened the whole car set up. And now I can see that this is the lighting that I want. So I can move on to texturing my car seat. First of all I want to do is to go to Fstorm, choose an Fstorm material, hit M, leather, brown. So you need to remember that the Fstorm is not a PBR render engine like in Corona. We have a reflection control here, which by default in PBR render engines, reflection is always 1. So in here, it doesn't work that way. So we need to go to diffuse, hit an Fstorm button. Again, choose the file, and I'm going to go to my car seat, textures, leather, and I have a nice leather texture here. So let's check the leather texture and apply it to my car seat. Apply it everywhere I want it to be. Okay, so the scale of the texture seems good. I don't want to touch the scale right now, but I need to create a full shader of this texture. So first of all, I have here in the Fstorm my Fstorm bitmap, right? I click on it and I go to Fstorm mix. Why? Because I also have ambient occlusion map for this leather to bump up the cracks in the leather details. So check and go to multiply. This is with an AO and this is without AO. You see how much detail we get? A lot. The next thing I want to do is to go to reflections and I turn on the reflection. But keep in mind, I don't want to boost like up to 255. That's not physically accurate. I'm going to keep it around 220, 229. For the glossiness and roughness, I choose roughness, and let's say I put like 0.5. We have a region rendering here as in Corona. We can simply drag this region up, and we can see the region render. But first of all, I want to play with the lighting a little bit. So let's go back to my HDRI map and play with an offset and get a nice lighting on my car seat. And this is looking good. This lighting looks really good. So the basic leather looks like this. What we have here in Fstorm is a very cool feature called Glossy Fresnel. So what Fresnel is, this is a person. This is a floor. So when you look at the floor at the 90-degree angle, you see low reflection. Like you don't see gloss mirror-like reflection. It looks very rough, so it's rough. When you look at 0 angle, you get a mirror reflection, like glossy. Let me show you in the Fresnel effect road. This is a good example. You see, under the angle, everything starts reflecting like a mirror. This is called a Fresnel effect. It's a physical phenomenon. So to make it look realistic, I want the edges, because I look at the 0-degree angle, I want the edges to look more glossy. So I turn on the Fresnel 0.5 and the edges will become more glossy. For the roughness, I have a roughness map with my texture pack. So I will choose roughness. Let me see where it is. Here. And yeah, this is my roughness. And I want to put also a normal map. The reflection IOR, let's change it to 1.6. And for the bump, I go to bump. I go Fstorm bitmap. I turn on the normal map as a function. And I don't remember, guys, it's very hard to check on this particular texture because the normal map is it's not strong at all. If I'm correct, most of the time I invert the green channel to make it work properly. But you gotta eyeball it and check it yourself. So the files, normal map. And I can bump up the intensity of the normal map. I'm not sure that we will see a lot of a huge difference on the surface if we're rendering only 2.5K. So let's change it to like 4K and see if we can see any details. And Fstorm already, when you convert material to the Fstorm, it lowers the bump amount a lot. So let's bump it up. Let's say like 1 centimeter here. And let's bump out the normal map power. You see, it's very subtle. It's very subtle. We don't really see much of normal map on this particular texture. But what I want to do here, I want to mix the color of this fine brown leather with a darker brown leather to give it more like a vintage look. So what I can do, in this case, if I'm going to do a little bit advanced, I choose a slate material editor. I pick up my leather, and this is how my material is structured. Diffuse, roughness, normal. So I want another diffuse. Let's shift drag to copy it. Maps, Fstorm, color correction as an input. And I want to make it like dark, very dark, and a bit contrasty. And I want to mix these two colors in here. So I choose another map called Fstorm Dirt. Fstorm Dirt. This is basically the same thing as an ambient occlusion in Corona. So before we plug our textures in, let's check the diffuse texture with the dirt. In the dirt, we have a black color and we have a white color. So let's turn the black to red to see how it affects the model. And as you can see, the radius of the ambient occlusion is 1 centimeter, which I don't like at all. So let's change it to 30. And we can see the effect already. So distribution is how hard the edges, basically, of how hard is distribution of the ambient occlusion. I want to keep it to 1. Maybe a little bit of contrast, like this. And I want to shift it to y-axis because I want the ambient occlusion affect these parts as well. So let's shift it a little bit into y-axis. Good. So now what it means that I want to put the dark map into a slot where I have the red color, and I want to put the bright one into a white color slot. And we have a dark leather on the sides, and we have a bright leather in the middle. This gives like a vintage look, which I enjoy. All right, guys. So the other thing that is left here is the fact that this middle part of the leather is perforated, as any expensive car seat has. To create a perforated leather, basically I copy this whole material, and on this Fstorm Dirt, I put another mix, Fstorm Mix, Texture 1 and Texture 2, Fstorm Bitmap, and I have a perforated leather texture, leather mask here. So this one. If I go to Fstorm Mix and I put a multiply in the options, I will multiply my perforated texture onto the leather. So this will go to the diffuse texture then. All right, and now simply I can select this middle part. Let's detach it. Put another turbo on it. And apply my perforated texture on this. So guys, when you detach something, you need to reload the new geometry data into Fstorm. That's why you need to click on the reload scene. And Sorry, that was not the perforated. This one was the perforated. Okay, I can see the perforated leather here. If we want to go a bit more into the details, first of all, I guess the texture is too small. Let's like do it 0.8, 0.8 of the scale. And also in this bump map, I want my perforated texture to be in the bump map instead of the normal map. So let's remove it and put it into bump and lower the amount 0.1. Let's see how it looks. Okay, looking good. I don't know how like Fstorm does it. It's not a PBR render engine, but it's very easy to achieve a realism with Fstorm. It's really, really easy, especially when you work with metals. So, all right, we're good with the leather texture. Let's close the slate editor, open a standard editor again, and let's continue. So we want to do a black plastic material. Fstorm M black plastic. Maybe we will change it from black to dark brown. I don't know, but so black. I never go to complete zero. Again, let's keep it at 5. Reflection 220. Apply. Roughness 0.5. Glossy Fresnel 0.55, let's say. And for the bump, I go to Fstorm. I go to Fstorm noise. All right, let's turn the RT mode on again. Let's region this part. And we have a noise already, but obviously it's way too big. First of all, I don't want to have a lot of details in my noise, so iterations 1, okay, 2, and the size is 10, but I want to have like 0.1. And obviously it's way too strong. Let's go to 1/10 of the bump. We have a feature called a optical zoom, which means that we are not zooming the image, but we're realistically like zooming the camera. So let's zoom in and see if we made the bump way too small. And I guess yes, we made the bump way too small. So instead of 0.1, let's go to 0.5. No, 0.35. All right, this is looking good. So this will be my, let's turn off the optical zoom. And the nice thing about the optical zoom, you see, if we, even in 4K, if we render this region, zoom in, we don't see any details. If we go to optical zoom, we move the camera closer to the object, we see like a ton of details. So this will be my bump for the plastic. I guess what I want to do is make it a little bit dark. So I will go to 1 with the color input, and we'll go to 122 with the reflection amount. Okay. Let's create a red plastic. M red plastic. Just turn off to change the color of the plastic. P for perspective. And I know the seatbelt part always have a red part in it. Detach. Turbo. Apply. All right. Good. Reload again. When you unhide things, you need to reload your scene. So these parts are metal. Fstorm M metal. 1 for the color. Fresnel of the metal is very high. It's like 5. Reflection a little bit down. Apply and see. I guess it is way too much. Let's go 3 for the Fresnel and turn off the reflection color. Okay, this is looking like black painted metal right now. All right, let's clone the plastic and make it a brown plastic. I want to have somewhere like dark brown. Now we want to create a M chrome. For the chrome, we can simply remove the diffuse completely, push the reflection to 2.9, 0.5 for the glossiness. Fresnel is very high, like 5. Glossy Fresnel up to 1, and maybe gloss. Let's change the glossiness to roughness. It's easier for me to work that way. Let's remove the roughness, like 0.25, and apply to this part. I don't know how, but Fstorm makes metal look so good. I don't know how they do it, but metal in Fstorm looks best. Like no other render engine can compare with it. All right, let's apply the plastics on this seatbelt parts as well. Go to Edit Poly. Let's apply the brown plastic to these parts and apply black plastic to these parts. P, zoom. Okay, for this parts, this cover holes, we can simply create a black, like no diffuse, no reflection, nothing at all. Looking good. For this top part, we will choose a metal chrome, and this inner part, I guess it's a LED light. So let's go to Fstorm, light material, red or yellow somewhere, drag and drop, reload. That's it. I guess it's too strong. Let's turn it down to 10, and let's make it like dark orange. All right, guys, let's see the seat from the behind, and I will apply my brown plastic to this part. I will apply my chrome to this part, my LED material to this part, headrest again leather. These parts, this part should be plastic, so turbo smooth, black plastic, black plastic, and I think the bump of the plastic is way too strong, so let's turn it a bit more down, 0.05, 0.05, on the red one as well, 0.05. All right, and for this screen, we need to create a glass, but not like a glass material, but a glass that you have on your iPhones, let's say. So diffuse 1, a little bit of reflection, and that's it. A little bit of roughness. Apply the screen. Control I for invert selection, and for all the other parts, I'll apply my black plastic, and that's it. Reload. C for camera zoom. Reload. And I have my seat. So in this case, let me explain you a few things. If I go to Fstorm render settings, I go to GPU manager, you can see I have two GPUs, 4080 Super and 3070 Ti. Obviously, it's very good for the render speed because CUDAs that these GPUs have, they combine. So let's say you have 10,000 CUDAs on 1040 Super and 5000 3070 Ti, which I don't remember right now, you get a total number of, let's say, 10 plus 7, 16,000, 17,000 CUDA render cores. But the problem is that you see I have a memory 0.89 gigabytes out of 625. So when it comes to using video memory, Fstorm chooses the lowest amount of video memory, because my 3070 Ti has like 8 gigs, 2 goes to Windows, 6 is left to 3ds Max. 4080 Super has 16 gigs. So if you need like big VRAM, you need to turn off the one of the GPUs. You see, it turned into 12.4 gigabytes of video memory. So if I turn it back, it goes to 6.25. So just remember, in case of VRAM, it chooses the lowest amount. In case of CUDA, it combines them. So this is the Fstorm render engine. And for the final render, I just leave the RT real-time render window to go to 0.001. It's already there. In the render engine, we have a noise level. We can see that we almost have no noise in the render engine, and it took like a few seconds to render it. That's the power of GPU rendering. Okay, guys, I hope this information was useful to you, and I see you in the next lesson. Thank you very much.